If I had 90 days to go from scratch, you had no background in nutrition or nutrition coaching at all, and get you to a place where you had a fully functioning nutrition coaching business where you were confident about it, you could get clients results, you could attract new clients, there would be three main steps we would focus on. Today, I'm going to share them with you. Before we get started, though, there's a few things. I'm going to talk about these steps today and I'm going to explain them. I'm going to give you some examples and tell you what to do. But if you want me to show you what to do, I'm going to make it really easy. I have a completely free 3-day challenge that gives you all like the templates, the scripts, the sheets, everything you need to get started nutrition coaching, completely free. You can find it in the first link in the description, as well as the link I just posted there. And I'll pin that to the top of the chat there. Go check that out if you haven't checked out the challenge yet. It's a great resource. We've had people saying that they've been nutrition coaching for a year, and through that 3 days, it clarified so much stuff for them, more than any other thing they went through, more than their certification, more than different coaching programs. Check out that challenge. It's going to give you quite a bit of insight on how to get started. But today will be me explaining these steps. There's three main things that you need here. You need the right science. Nutrition coaching is a game of science. If you understand the science of nutrition and how to apply it specifically around the goals that most nutrition clients are going to want, 90% of nutrition coaching is helping your clients achieve a body composition result or athletic performance result. So we're talking about losing fat, gaining muscle, performing better. If you can control for the things from someone's nutrition that produces those results, you'll be so much further ahead than anyone else in this industry. That's a big, big thing, but it's applying the right science. Then from there, it's one thing to know a lot about the science of nutrition, but you also want to be able to put it in a coaching system that's repeatable, that you know what you're doing. You're doing it similarly with every client, so that you have some like you know exactly what you're doing step by step. And that comes down to being organized and having the right coaching systems. The third one is, even if you know what you're talking about and how to apply it, the right science, you're pretty organized and you know exactly what you would do, all this is going to be all for naught unless you have paying clients. You need to have paying clients. So you need the right strategy in place to be able to attract them. As you get started, this isn't all social media. Social media definitely helps, but you need the right pieces in place so that you can highlight to others that you're a coach. This doesn't mean always to be through Instagram or Facebook or anything like that. Like sometimes it can be literally making connections with people in your social circle, highlighting what you're up to and highlighting the next step and where they would need to go. Once you get better at that, you're going to show people that there's an opportunity, and that's how your business is going to get going. Then you have the right systems to coach them, and you're focusing on the right things so that you can help them produce a result. In my view, my humble view here, nutrition coaching isn't about everything you could give someone. The process of coaching is giving only what you need to them to get a result. You're simplifying things. You're getting more focused. You're not saying, here's everything you could know. You guys probably know from, if you've taken a basic nutrition certification, that they basically hand you a textbook and say, here it all is. And that makes it really tough to apply. As you work with clients, you're trying to focus on, here's only what you need to act on and understand right now in order to start getting some results, moving in the right direction, and then going from there and building on that. That's the coaching process. And when you can do that, it's lights out. You'll be successful. So that's what we're going to go through today. Those three things, those three steps: the right science, the right coaching systems, and then what we need to do in order to attract new paying clients. That's that business side of things that all of us know we need to be doing, but can kind of freak us out at times, make us feel a little squeamish, because it means putting ourselves out there and showing up in a certain way. But that's what we're going to talk about. I do want this to be a discussion. This can go on as long as we need it to. You're not going to break up my flow or anything like that. I talk about this stuff each and every day. So if you have questions as we're getting going, drop it in the chat. If you're watching the replay and you're like, hey, I really wish I knew this at this moment, leave me a comment and I'll get back to it later. I'm happy to answer questions as we go here, because I know, number one, if you have that question, someone else does. So please verbalize it. It's my first year coaching under 7 hockey. And Max is 5, and he got into hockey this year. He's been skating for a few years. We got into hockey, and I put myself forward to coach. I said if they needed a head coach, I would do it, which essentially I think in volunteer speak means you're the head coach. So I'm the head coach, and there's so many things like hockey-wise, I have a pretty good understanding, but outside of that, of the managing of the team and the admin stuff, and it's a full-time job. It really, really is. But there's so many things I don't know. And I needed to get comfortable in that process, being like some of these bigger meetings with, people in the same position, putting myself out there and saying, hey, like, what's the deal with this? I have no idea what you're talking about. If you have that feeling, verbalize it, toss it in the chat, ask me a question, because there really are no silly questions. There's no stupid questions. There's no silly questions. If you're feeling it, someone else is as well. And I'd love to answer that. I take pride in answering those ones. So this is without a doubt a safe space. Okay, but the right science. Since so many of our clients are going to want to lose weight or gain muscle, their nutrition, like you can't overlook the objective side of nutrition, which means focusing on the energy, what we eat provides, as well as where that energy comes from. Going way back to energy balance and going back to where the actual calories come from. So the protein, carbohydrates, and fat, the large components of our food that provide those calories. If you're not getting a sense of what your clients are currently doing with those and what they would need to do and move towards in order to reach that goal and adjusting along the way, you're leaving the results up to chance. Like this is what we call in the Dr. Mark method. Like that's the structure of someone's nutrition plan. That's the structure of their diet that we're giving them. That's the checks and balances of that stuff. It doesn't mean just opening your textbook and tossing in some calculations and sending them over without any insight around how to do it. But you need to have those in place in order for them to reach their goals. We teach a system where you're going to get a sense of like what they're currently doing now, and then setting a calorie and macro target based on those towards what would be optimal, and then making adjustments along the way. But if you don't have control over those things, could they get results? Sure, but you're leaving them up to chance. And I'd rather be checking in on and adjusting those numbers and giving feedback and coaching steps and action steps on how to hit those numbers, because that's what's going to get results. So that's the first thing in terms of like the actual science of this stuff. Yes, how we digest those nutrients is important, and making sure that we're eating quality food within that stuff, and without a doubt. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is having the right structure in place so that you can help someone reach their goals, and we can't overlook the objective side of things when that's the case. The second thing, coaching systems. We've had so many students come through our program, really, really knowledgeable coaches, very passionate. They wanted to help others. They had a personal transformation story. They wanted nothing more than to turn this into a side hustle or their job. But they would get, in the past, they'd get a few clients, get overwhelmed because they couldn't keep it all organized, or they couldn't fulfill on it, or it was taking too much of their time and they couldn't grow their business. The answer to that is making sure that you have the right systems in place right from the beginning. You need to have that in place. So that means having a rock solid check-in process, so that clients know exactly when they need to check in and what that would look like. We teach like non-live check-ins, like we're not doing calls with people. They're submitting the right information. We're collecting it through a shared sheet, or we're collecting that information through some sort of system. Then we're responding through a combination of video voiceover. If you guys have ever emailed me, you've probably got a video of me talking to you back. We're doing some video-based voiceover messages back to them, going over, this is what I'm seeing, this is what needs to change, this is what you're doing well, and approaching check-ins that way. We get to around 10 clients, we have them all on one check-in day, then we add another check-in day in. These are the type of coaching systems that you need to develop to start to get this going and to stay organized. Because if you can't do it with 2, you're going to have a hard time doing it with 10. And you're never going to get past that. It's always going to be a hobby. It's never going to be a side hustle. It's never going to be a business without the right coaching systems in place. Those are our first 2 points. There's much more and expanded versions of that. And there's examples of how to set that up and what that would look like in that 3-day challenge. If you haven't started it yet, click on that link. You can click on it now. I don't think I shouldn't go away. You can still listen to me, and make sure you sign up for that, completely free. You'll get tons of value of that over the 3 days. Now, if you have any questions about this before we move on to point 3, let me know. Let me know in the chat. Like, what are you guys thinking about? Does this make sense? Are these some of the things you're already doing? Are these things that you're overlooking? Any specific questions about the process? We got some people watching live, so by all means, fill me in. And if you're finding the content helpful here, make sure you hit that like button, comment. That does push these videos further, and I love the live stuff. Makes sense. How would you handle questions before check-ins? There's a few things. I like to think about. Great question, Kai. Thank you. I think the biggest thing is through an onboarding process before you get the client started, you're going to try to give them a pretty good idea of how the process will go. And the more you can systemize that in terms of collecting all that information, putting it in one place and sending it all over once and doing that similarly with all your clients, the more you'll cover all your bases and kind of anticipate questions before they come up. Then from there, I like to always think of, like, I really put the emphasis on the check-in to answer questions. Now there's going to be things that come up, like this is what I was saying. Now there's going to be things that will come up throughout your week that you might be questioning. If it gets in the way of you acting on the things that I've laid out here, send me an email and I'll answer it. But if you feel like it's not a necessity and it can wait, I really want you to utilize the check-in to ask any questions. And then in the check-in form, you put like, what else should I know? What other questions do you have? Like, give them an opportunity to ask those questions and then answer them there. And when we ask, number one, that'll keep you organized and it won't stretch everything out. It'll also place the emphasis on the client to take ownership of their program and really like think about what's a need to ask, and can I do this? Do I have enough to actually act on this stuff and do enough? That it gives them like autonomy, which is really, really important. And then from there, it just really allows you to sit down with all the information in front of you to give the best answers. When you phrase it out that way, that's why we're approaching questions in the check-in process that way. People will understand because they're going to get the best answers when you've set aside time to answer them with all the right information in front of you, clear headspace, you're organized. Like, that's the best time to give answers as well. So everyone wins in that scenario, and that's how I would approach it. Will things come up? Without a doubt, but I would really want to put the emphasis on ask questions during the check-ins through the check-in form and give them opportunity to do that, so things aren't all over the place. Hope that makes sense, Guy. Okay, you can have these two things down, but if you don't have paying clients, this is going to be a hobby. So we need to have some things in place to market ourselves and get paying clients and attract them. Social media obviously is one of the greatest things that we can do because it's very scalable. We can put ourselves out there. Like, it's going to be seen by more people that aren't just in our geographical area. But when you get started, your first handful of paying clients are going to come from people that you already know. Like, if you don't have an established business, people that you've never met aren't going to come up to you and hire you. It just doesn't work like that is the biggest thing. So what you want to do is make it obvious to the people that are already around you and already see you as the person that can help, that there is an opportunity. I'm not saying avoid social media. If anything, put that opportunity in the places within your social media where they can find it. We love application forms to work with you. I would put that in my bio. I would highlight it. Like, you want people to know there's an opportunity, even if they're not doing it, right? It shouldn't be some like elusive, secretive thing. There's different philosophies around this stuff in terms of like, you really want to give and over deliver before you ask. And I totally understand that, but there's chances are like you've already done that in some sense and people are already looking for that opportunity. So just start asking and make it obvious that there's a step to work with you and you will get this stuff going. So this means like in conversations, when someone asks you, hey, how's everything going? You don't just say, oh, it's pretty good. You say, hey, great. I've been working on my nutrition coaching business. Things are going really, really well. I'm still looking for a few clients. Do you know anyone that, would be a good fit for that? Just put it out there, see what happens. Make it obvious that there's an opportunity to work with you. And that's the best place to get that stuff started. Then from there, we start to post more specific content. We start to think a bit more about who we are as coaches, who are best suited to serve, who would pay for this type of service. We start to get more specific. But before that point, we just want to make it obvious that there's a chance and an opportunity to work with us. And those are the three things. Those are the three steps. Is there any other questions for today? If you haven't yet done that three-day challenge, you should. It is amazing. I think we've had like nearly 600 clients or people sign up for it, go through it, tons of great feedback. It's very action-based. You're going to get everything you need to get started. So take me up on that. And if you have any questions, reach out, but also go through, but also like if you're watching the replay, go through and drop a comment and let me know what questions you have. Kara says, does the Dr. Mark Method educate on motivational interviewing? Absolutely. I think week 7 of our lectures introduces motivational interviewing and how to work it into your check-in process, and just how to, the art of coaching itself, which is throughout the entire program, is to get your clients to take on autonomy over this process, as well as getting them to see why it's in their best interest to do these things and how it falls within their goals. So that's MI in a nutshell, right? Which is like, how do we get people to see that they're in their own way and what they need to do, and get them bought in to the solutions. And we teach that, like, I would say that's permeates the entire program. So if Kara, if you're interested in learning a little bit more about that as well, shoot me an email and we can chat a little bit more about how to work that into your coaching business or where you're at, without a doubt. My email is marc@drmarkmethod.com, marc@drmarkmethod.com. C's in the Mark, because I'm en français, kind of, not really. Okay. Let me know what other questions you guys got. Bring it on. I want to hear them. Got some good questions today from Kai and Kara. If you guys are enjoying the content, getting value from it, make sure to hit that like button. Drop a comment where you're coming from, that type of thing. All that type of engagement helps the channel grow. The channel is growing. It's been great. We're up to nearly 7,400 subscribers. Very active group of you. You guys are commenting on stuff, watching the videos. I get on calls with people and they say, I've watched so much of your stuff, which is just amazing. And truthfully, is a blessing. So thank you for engaging that stuff, but continue to engage and watch the content, and then we'll go from there. Check out the challenge. Let me know if there's anything else, and we'll leave her there for today, guys. All right. Have a good one. Bye.